you're someone who's into personal development, I'm gonna share with you the biggest mistake that you're probably making that's fucking up your relationships. And that is expecting other people to share your obsession with personal development. And this is something that I went through at the very beginning of my journey. When I discovered personal development and got exposed to the idea of having the option to build myself into whatever I wanted, I was so fascinated that I wanted everyone to share my obsession. I started to force that obsession onto my family members, onto my friends. I was even forcing that onto strangers. And that led to people developing resentment or reacting negatively towards me. Because what is personal development? You are committing to change for the better. And unfortunately, in today's world, the majority of people don't want to change, especially if it's through force by someone else and not by their own accord. And this happened to me at the beginning and I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why? Because in my mind, I'm trying to help them. Because why not? I'm gonna make their lives better, they're gonna get better results, they'll be better off financially, they'll be happier, more fulfilled, they'll hit their goals, etc. So to me, I was doing them a favor, but that's not the way that it was perceived by the people close to me. And now, after a few years, I've realized that the truth is, you can't force anyone to change. Change has to come from within, and the best way that you can actually help those people, help the people that you care about to change, to want to better themselves, is by you committing to getting better, is by you leading by example, because then they will see the difference. They can compare the previous version of you to the new version, and that will inspire them, hopefully, to take action. And this is something that happened to me with my brother. I am a bit older than my brother, and of course he has other interests at this point in his life. He's still a teenager, and understandably, he is not stressing too much about life, let's say. And I can't blame him. When I was a teen, what the fuck was I thinking about? I was worried about playing Monster Hunter on PlayStation. But given that I have the experience, I want to make sure that he's set up for success, that he doesn't commit the same mistakes that I made. And at one point, I found myself being a bit too harsh, trying to push certain pressures or beliefs on him to try to steer him in the direction that I wanted. And that was just causing him to actually step back, shy away from my approach. Fast forward to a few years later, this point, and because I've stayed consistent with my own development, he has naturally developed an inclination to ask me about the things that I'm doing, to be more curious about how he can start implementing the habits that I've implemented into his own life. It's something that's changed my perspective completely. Looking back at certain arguments, because they weren't conversations, arguments that I had with ex-friends or family members about the new approach to life that I was taking, I would have handled it completely different if I had the chance to do it all over again. Because I've grown wiser, obviously, but it's because I realized that you can't force your beliefs onto anyone, in this case, to try and force people to get better. You just can't do that. And if you're still stuck in that stage where you are desperately trying to force your friends to go to the gym, force your friends to quit smoking weed, to stop eating junk food, to start reading, learn new skills, focus about business, that was a big one for me where I wanted my best friends to let's move in together, let's try and start a business, let's go train together, but that wasn't them. If you're still stuck in that stage, I encourage you to take a step back and reassess your approach, because you're actually achieving the opposite effect. You're actually pushing them away instead of inspiring them. Truthfully, the best way is to leave them alone, not discuss the topic at all, focus on your own development, and then come back. I remember, it reminds me of a story. In Puerto Rico, there's a very common expression that gets thrown around, and it's that people back home, back in my island, are very proud of being Puerto Ricans. We're a relatively small island, it's in the Caribbean, it's about 3.2 million people in the whole island. And because we are a US territory, we can travel to the US. And the common expression is that if you really want to help the people at home, meaning the people in the island, the best way you can do that is to leave for a few years, then come back. That's the best way to make an impact. That's something that's commonly shared across the people in Puerto Rico. And in personal development, I think it's actually pretty much the same thing. You have to leave the house, go on adventures, conquer, learn, fail, succeed, try again, gain experience, and then when you come back a new person, and hopefully inspire the people who have it in them to actually want to better their life. That's the reflection for today's video. Right before Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got some lessons, some takeaways. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Happy holidays, and I'll catch you on the next one.